Jeff Wilson here with Teddy Bear Ash. Teddy, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. It's a good day, so thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no, it's great to have you. Congratulations on all your success. For people maybe not in Canada, because everybody knows who you are in Canada, the number one contender at light heavyweight and middleweight, had both belts, recently vacated them, is on your way to the Contender Series, Dana White's Contender Series coming up here in August. So many big things happening for you. Excited for you to represent Canada and the prairies and to see what you're doing, man. It's awesome. But what I really am always interested in when I talk to fighters that are on their way up like you are is going back and where it all started and the story of little baby Teddy Ash and how that happened and where your parents came from, that type of thing. So yeah, let's start there. Where are your parents from? How did you get to where you're at? And we'll go from there.
Yeah, my parents they're born and raised in Newfoundland. When they got I don't know, around 18 years old, 19, they had to look to move somewhere else and start making money and make a life. And they came out west and ended up in Fort MacMurray, the boom town, the oil sands. Uh, they got found work and had a family of five. I got a brother and a sister, and yeah, now they raised us all there. And once we all got old enough and moved out on our own, they went back to Newfoundland. My old man had built a place there, beautiful retirement home, and looking out over the ocean. And yeah, they're living there, and then they're traveling a little bit, and they come back west to visit lots. They got grandkids up in Fort Mac, and I'm here. My sister's here.
Yeah, you're in Edmonton, and that's awesome. So I love it, and I got to ask this because I got friends that are newfies, and I love the work ethic and the humor, especially. But did you do a lot of when people bug you about your accent when you were a kid, or did you not have one?
I never really got the accent. Like, I was born and raised in Fort Mac. I lived in Newfoundland when I was 1 until I was 2. So it was kind of brief for me. My parents went back just to see if it would work. But with 3 kids and not having a lot of work back there, all the work was out west. And then they came back. We lived in Edmonton a little bit when I was really young, but for the most part, born and raised Fort Mac. I did my elementary and high school there. Graduated there.
It's a different place, Fort Mac, right? And it's a tough place. Like you kind of it reminds me of I'm from Saskatchewan originally in Regina. It reminds me of a place like PA where your word is your bond. Honesty means something, and you kind of got to be a man up there. Is that the truth? Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it. You got to be a man for sure. You never hack it unless otherwise. When I grew up there, it was a lot smaller. It's a boom town. It's growing, and it's quite a different place now than when I was, in high school and shortly after. It's changed, and they've cleaned it up a lot. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. Small town, but very nice.
Yeah. Grown up, how many brothers and sisters?
One brother, one sister.
Okay. Well, younger or older?
They're both older. I'm the baby. Yeah.
You're the baby, eh? So you're the bad kid getting away with everything?
That's true. That's exactly how it goes, man. That's how the story goes.
So talk to me about your journey into martial arts.
Well, yeah, growing up in Fort Mac, like you said, you kind of got to be a man. We were pretty rough, and I was getting in a lot of scraps and whatnot. And I played football. I played high school football up there, and during football, there was a martial arts club, women's MMA. I started dabbling in with that and doing that just for some training, and it was fun, and I was starting to get a knack for it, and I did it more of an off-season thing, stay in shape and just stay fit. And of course, it's fun, punching each other in the face. I was a tough kid, just, wanted to fight and whatever. UFC was blowing up huge at that time, like me and my buddies would all get together when there was a UFC card, drink beer and, go crazy watching these fights. And I always just had a weird feeling like, man, someday I want to do that. I want to try that out. I graduated from high school and I went to play CJFL football in Nanaimo for the Vancouver Island Raiders.
Nice.
I played 4 years out there, and in the off season, I'd go back to Fort Mac and work. Training in the off season, like lots of weightlifting, and then kickboxing classes, a bit of jiu-jitsu classes and stuff. And it was always on my mind, like, what am I going to do when I'm done with football or whatever? And I eventually aged out of the CJFL. That was at 22, and
what position did you play? Do you mind, Teddy?
I was a D end, a little bit of linebacker, but mostly up on the D line.
Nice.
Yeah, in the trenches, man. I like to get grindy. So.
Yeah.
I played 4 years out there. We won 2 national championships back to back. My first 2 years, ended up playing in another national championship that we had unfortunately lost. But I aged out at 22. Ended up in Fort Mac working. I was debating going to play for the Manitoba Bisons. It was all up in the air, and I got a chance to fight an amateur fight there in Fort Mac, and I was training, and I'm like, hell yeah. So I just went all in on that my first amateur fight, and I loved it. And the second I fought, as soon as the fight was over, I knew that was it, man. I'm in it to win it now. I'm done with football, and I'm just gonna fight. I've been fighting ever since.
I love it, man. I appreciate you talking about that. I didn't get to the level at football. I played at high school and won a city championship when we were there. But it's such a different sport in terms of team mentality and responsibility. And then in the cage, it's like you're all alone, right? What did you find? What were the things that helped you in football that you were able to go, oh, this kind of works in MMA? And what were the things that were like, oh man, I don't, this is not, where's my coach? Where's my teammates? And anything like that?
Yeah. You know what? A lot of what I learned in the mentality and the coaching is so transferable over to my MMA like career as a whole. Maybe not directly to me in the cage fighting, but some of the best advice I've ever been given was football coaches preaching about the team. And as much as it's only me in the cage physically fighting, it's always about the team, man. It's you can't succeed fighting if you don't have the proper coaching in the gym and the proper teammates. It's all about your teammates, guys that know how to control the sparring, push a pace on you, still go hard, that are actually good athletes, committed athletes that are going to be there day in, day out. And you got to make it about each other and make it like a team and a family, man. Without that, you're not going to really go anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's true. And you're right, because not only, and this very much because Canada is like this, it is a tiny community in Canada. Everybody knows everybody. And it's good to have that team mentality. But if you don't understand that other people are necessary for your success, even if you're super talented, it's way harder to get there. And the one thing, I was on a plane to Costa Rica, and I was sitting beside a guy from Edmonton, and we started talking about you. He was just talking. I said, "Oh, the MMA, this MMA. Oh yeah, Teddy Ash." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he said, "Saw you fight." And I was looking back, said, "Yeah, we got to get that guy on the show." And man, you just seem to take it to a whole another level. I'm gonna get a little bit off topic here, because I work with the Children's Hospital here in Vancouver. I spent 6 weeks premature as a baby in Peterborough, Ontario. And then I see your stuff with the Children's Hospital, and you just get it, man. And talk to me about where that charity stuff comes from, and what you're working on right now, and where did that come from? Why did that start to happen?
Well, I have a friend back in Fort Mac. He sponsors me, and the woman that he's with, that's Talitha, the young girl. That's her mother. So I initially found out about that, and went through a sponsor. Then he asked me if I could kind of promote that, and I'm like, yeah, like 100%. And I didn't know much about pulmonary hypertension at the time, really anything. And so I kind of looked into it, and I got to meet Talitha, and then we have Benny, the young boy from our gym. It's kind of like we have a CrossFit gym downstairs also, and they do all kinds of other programs, seniors, high school programs, everything. Shave Bear MMA, and the MMA group is upstairs, and so we got a group of killer fighters, but we have a family gym there, you know, and they had a son with Wilms tumor, and everyone started, you know, chipping in and trying to help out with them a lot, and just, you know, doing a little bit of research and learning about this stuff and seeing what these families go through, and then, you know, how much stress and pain it puts them in. But then you see these young kids, and they're the ones with the health issues, and you know, you don't even see it on their face because they're just like, they're kids, and they're in good spirit and they're happy, and kind of gives you a little bit of a soft spot, and it's hard to ignore. And it's so easy for me to use a bit of my following to, you know, get other people to pitch in and a little bit of awareness. I auction off my gloves and my my tape there, and I brought in a ton of money for them off of that. And for me, what is it? I give away a pair of gloves. It was easy for me to do, and it made a big difference for them. So, you know, if I'm gonna be you know, fighting for a living and having people follow me and stuff, might as well use it for a good cause, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It warms my heart when I hear that stuff, because you're an absolute killer in the ring. And so when you see the other side, you're like, oh, this guy's human. And an awesome story about those two. And I know Talita has a little book that she wrote too, the superhero, which is cool. We'll get the link up on here as well. But very, very cool to, and that really speaks volumes to what we were just talking about it's a tight knit group. This is all a family, and nobody gets to the top without other people supporting them, man. And I think that the way you're giving back now to Benny and Talitha are great, and I think that's going to. It also provides different opportunities as the future goes. So like if we say, listen, if you look at the average fighter career, maybe 10 years, you know, at the most, but you really got to rock it within those first 5 years, right? And
Yeah.
because of the stuff that you do now, I think that it really sets you up to do some really interesting things. So, and as a role model, you're doing the right stuff. I just want to say, man, it's great to see. I'm really happy to see when you do that stuff.
Yeah, man, it's pretty awesome. I'm
What?
happy to help.
Yeah. What? Let's go back a little bit and let's talk about. You don't seem like a guy that has had a lot of struggles that you haven't been able to overcome. You seem to have been able to get through everything with time, work, hard work, and patience and dedication. Have there been some on the way that have really tested you as a person?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I don't know, we've all had some struggle stuff. When I was younger, I kind of went through a big tragic event there. I was 18, and I was in a canoe accident, and 2 of my friends drowned. It was just kind of a hard hit at the time. I was 18. I had never been through anything like that. I never really experienced a really big loss, and so I lost my 2 best friends right there. I witnessed them drowning, and yeah, it did send me in a downward spiral for quite some time. I went to some pretty dark places, and yeah, it was you know, I'm just over the 10-year mark right now, and you know, it still kind of gives me troubles from time to time. It's just yeah, something that will always be there, but you know, it's a struggle, but I fight through it, and I find a way to get on and move on with it. I don't know, I guess it did take a few really, really hard years to really get things going, till MMA was kind of the thing that helped me quite a bit. It happened after my first year playing junior football, so the rest of my junior career was, I hate to blame it on that, was kind of ruined in a sense. You know, drinking every day and not really caring about much. So I kind of screwed myself over in a lot of ways, went into debt, and thought I was never going to get out of the hole I was in. But, you know, MMA, it's more than just fighting, man. There's a lot of life lessons to be learned. And
I really appreciate you sharing that. It's interesting because I don't think you're alone. in that type of thing. I know there's that struggle is very unique to you, but I know that Adam Wayne's two of his parents died in a car accident, and his fighting is an expression of his pain at times. And when you see it, you're like, what? Whoa, like it's almost too violent. You're like, oh, that guy's going through some stuff. But that's how you got to get through. You got to do positive stuff, right? And then
Yeah.
the whole Gary Copus thing, right? And then I loved what he did after that incident happened in the ring, where the guy went into coma and ended up passing away, and he built the GoFundMe for his son. And then when he was asked about it, he said, "Now I fight for both of us," right? And that drove him. So he's able to take a really negative sort of situation and turn it into something like positive. And it seems like that sort of driven you. Once you went down, you just said, "Okay, forget it. I'm not that guy." Or how'd that go?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I definitely hit rock bottom. I might have stayed down there for a little bit too long. I finally, you know, found a little bit of an outlet. MMA. I had my first amateur MMA fight. After my first amateur MMA fight, I actually had another best friend, the one that had been like pretty much one of my most solid buddies since childhood, like, who had helped me get through a lot of that while I was living in BC, like without all my buddies from home. I was out there. I was on FaceTime with him every night, like him trying to help me through that. And then he passed away 3 years after, and it kind of threw me back down for maybe another year. So I still continued to fight, but he was only ever there to witness my first amateur fight. So that kind of put another speed bump in, but it really, at the end of the day, like really, once I hit rock bottom again, I realized like I can't go on like this, because, you know, I'm just gonna end myself too soon. I need to, like, you know, I need to get things moving and get back on my feet. And it really just lit a fire under my ass and pushed me in the right direction to just do better all around. Still, some of the struggle is obviously still there and whatnot, but anytime I need to get my mind off things, just go to the gym.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's amazing what physical activity can do in general.
Yeah.
And moving your body. And I mean, even I'm 150 years old now, so I just kickbox every once in a while. But we were and I was working out at the gym with my training partner the other day, and we were just training, and then these two girls started hitting pads. And as soon as you hear that sound, you kind of you light up, right? And you're like, oh, I gotta get back to hitting pads. You know what I mean? You miss it, and as soon as there's a trigger there, you're like, this is ridiculous, and you start to change. And was it how did you manage? I want to know how did you know? How do you get out of a downward spiral? Like, what you just say? You know what? I'm just gonna go to the gym. Like, how did that happen?
Well, one thing is, when I was in that, I've always been a gym rat growing up and like playing football. I worked out throughout most of my dark times. Even like, you know, I would drink, you know, a bottle of R&R to myself every night and still go to the gym the next day.
Wow.
It's always been a part of me. But to be more positive about it and to, like, you know, kind of stop drinking and get my health back on track, that was the hard part. But I was still competing and like fighting amateur and stuff. And then I started fighting pro, and like, you know, as time went on, I knew I'm not going to be able to compete like this. And like MMA really like sparked a light for me and showed me like, yeah, you can drink and work out and all that, but it's still not like a healthy lifestyle, you know. Like MMA has really shown me I need to be healthier. My physical health will help my mental health, and you know, they go together, they count on each other. And you know, you gotta to fight high level guys and at a professional level, you have to take care of every little aspect, right?
Yeah, it's a way different game, amateur to professional, right? Like, maybe not at the first couple, but when you hit 5 to 7 pro fights, it is a whole other ball game. It's actually it's not it's like 10 times. And then to be, I think you're 14-4 right now. Like and number one, like that's awesome. Oh, I did want to ask you about the series between Dominique Steele, because whenever I see fights, I'm like win, 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 and I'm like, and then I'm like loss, and then right away you had a rematch, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's a story there. Because
Yeah,
just to let the fans know, you fought Dominic Steele, and you lost in the first round of punches at Unified 35, and you fought him in Unified 36, a 4-round fight with a doctor stoppage and win. And man, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like that. What that thing is interesting when it's got to be the same person that beat
yeah,
you and getting in there again. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
for sure. Yeah. I had fought Dom December 7th last year. Shortly after, I fought Seth Bagzinski. Me and Seth had a 24-minute and 50-second war.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I ended up clipping him with a big shot right at the end, and I dropped him, and he was down, and I landed a few punches, and the ref called it off with like 5 seconds left or something. So I should have just sat on that for a while and then healed up properly. But I was just kind of like, skyrocketing, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I was pretty injured after that. I believe I had a bit of a concussion going on, and
Oh boy. Okay.
and I forced things. I wasn't supposed to fight on that card, and then I pushed for it. I had a doctor clear me to lift my band, and I had a CT scan, but no excuses. I fought. I was even a little bit chubbier and softer in the midsection than usual. It was just all around. It was on me. I shouldn't have been at it. And I fought. I was fighting well, and he ended up clipping me close to the end of the round with a shot. Wobbled me. I went down. I got to the cage. I got on my hands and knees. I'm in the midst of standing up. Almost heard. The ref thought he had seen enough. I'm not one to protest. I just kind of, all right, it is what it is. I lost fair and square. He got me. Lucky enough to get a rematch right away. I put in a real hard training camp. I came back lean, healthy, and pretty much dominated for 20 minutes. Unfortunately, it got stopped in between rounds because his eye was swollen shut.
Okay.
But, that was the doctor's call. I was kind of eager to get the 5th round started, but that's the way it goes. He called it. So
Yeah, no, awesome. I always think too, and you've had so few losses for. But I think that there's a lot of losses and a lot of learning that happens in training. And of the losses that you've had, what were some of the biggest lessons, or in the gym, what were some of the biggest lessons that you took from when you do get beat?
yeah, like all of my losses, huge life lessons, man. I think like losses teach you more about life and all the outside stuff more so when you win. You get better, you level up, and then you learn what you're gonna do better in the fight. A lot of the losses I took, I think maybe were subconsciously already there for the fight. And there's like I said, it gets in the back of my mind. Things I should have maybe done a bit differently throughout training camp, or like shouldn't have rushed into that fight, or I should have followed my intuition a little better and not just been so hungry to go after something that I shouldn't have. But the losses really, to me, they're I don't think I was defeated by them. It was more my own doing, and yeah, I learned a lot from those, and I carry all those lessons with me now, and I can't see myself making those same mistakes ever again.
Yeah, I can't either. And that's a beautiful thing about past losses. They become learning and you become a better fighter, which you definitely are. Um, what's something that no one would believe about you?
Shit. I don't know, man. That's a hard one. I'm a little bit typical, like Northern Alberta boy. I guess Well, I hate mayonnaise and mustard. I don't know. I'm a white Northern Alberta boy. You know, we all love mayo, but people seem to never believe me. But yeah, I can't do it.
It just
uh,
feels like eating pure fat. What? It's a mayo anyway.
something about it just grosses me out, man. I can't even be around it. Yeah, mayo and mustard for me just doesn't cut it. I don't know what you wouldn't believe about me. I do a lot of pretty gnarly stuff, but I think you wouldn't be too surprised about it.
Cool, man. Cool. Um, was there ever a book or a quote or a teaching that sort of guided you and started to change you, or something that you could take solace in when things got hard?
Yeah, I'm not like a huge reader, but I've read a few books here and there. My rookie year playing CJFL, I read the Lawrence Taylor his first book, Sex, Drugs, and Tackling Quarterbacks, and yeah, he was my
Awesome
fucking
book.
hero, man. I just wanted to be him so bad. So I was young. I was just graduated high school. I just moved to Vancouver Island from Fort MacMurray, Alberta. You know, and like living the dream a bit. And I wanted to be Lawrence Taylor. You know, I maybe did a little more outside of off the practice field than I should have. Too many extracurricular activities. You know what I mean? And you know, I was young and playing junior football, so I was having fun and it was all good. But you know, I learned that you know he was a pretty unique human, and we can't all do that. And you know, to have my fun, you know, there's got to be a little bit of discipline to earn that freedom. You know what I mean? And it definitely I gotta say I often refer back to that book and the way that I was then to the way that I am now and the difference and that you know reading that story itself about him and the way his career went eventually spiraled down because of the way he was and then me changing before mine ever got a chance to spiral down. I look back and it's a big lesson for me for sure. So I would have to say that book has definitely taught me a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was just thinking about when I read that book too. I played linebacker, and they would say Lawrence Taylor at 50% was better than most people at 100. Like it was just ridiculous. And so it's kind of like you think about it, you're like, you know what? I think Spidey Man says with power comes great responsibility, but also with privilege. If you have a certain level of talent, I truly believe it's your response. You can fool around for a bit, but it is your responsibility um, to actually work hard to see how far you can push it. And I think you're a great example of that, to be honest, and to continue because but like you said, no matter what, the gym has been the most consistent thing probably in your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been at it, and you know I've had my like little breaks here and there, and you know that's been it. They've been minor and short lived, but you know sometimes you need that just to realize how much you appreciate the life that you live and how much you appreciate working out, man, and just pushing it and sweating.
Yeah, it's funny too. And then once it gets your neural pathways start to go, I remember AJ Scales from Regina, Saskatchewan, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champ. I think you know. He came out here. He said, "I'm going to come take you to the Drake concert." He spent a week out here, 4 days with me, and the night of the concert, he basically is like, "Yeah, just come over, bring your gym stuff. We're going to work out before we go." I'm like, "What? How are we going to work out before we get?" He's like, "Just do it." And then I started talking to him. I said, let me just ask a question. Like, it's been what, 3 days since you worked out? And he's like, yeah, this is my third day, so 2 days. I said, you get like this itch, like this thing where you're like, I have to work out or I'm gonna go crazy. And he's like, yeah, even if it's just for like half an hour, I have to go, right? And you get that way, right?
Yeah, man, you just like release endorphins. You feel good. It doesn't matter, no matter how bad you don't want to go to the gym or don't want to work out or whatever. You never regret it, and that's goes for anyone. No one's ever regretted a workout ever. It's one of the best feelings ever, and you know, it just it makes you feel good, and you know, without it, you pent up energy, and you might feel some stress or some anxiety or whatever. You work out hard, and you just let it all go.
Hey, talk to me about how you're prepping for Contenders. A little bit different thing coming up in August, right? Like this
The
is kind of
walkout song.
a. I watch that show and it stresses me out more than anything because you not only, and I don't mean to stress you out when I say this, but when I watch, I'm like, you not only have to perform at your best, but you have to perform better than everybody else did on that night.
Yeah, man, I know that's what everyone's thoughts are, and that's what everyone asks and everyone thinks. And added pressure, you want to get the finish because
Yeah.
Dana White's there and he wants you to get a finish, and that's the whole criteria of the show is, finish this guy, be exciting and whatnot. But for me, like, that plays right into who I am and how I fight, man. I like,
Yeah.
that
That's how
show
it's
is
always been for you.
it's catered to my style. I've got my coaches trying to coach me to keep me on the leash a little bit, maybe like a retractable leash where they can let me go a bit. I've always been that's been a bit of my downfall as I go for it almost too much. So putting a little bit of control on that and a little more composure and where I'm at now and how much better I'm getting, man, that show is perfect for me. I just went there. I was there last Tuesday. I watched the Contender Series live. It was
Nice.
awesome, man. Small venue, wicked like energy in there, good vibe. No walkout song. You come out to silence, man. There's not even a crowd. You hear a couple claps. Um, as much as I didn't like that, I'm gonna embrace it and I'm gonna love it. It's a different kind of intensity. And as far as the added pressure goes, man, I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. I'm going in there. I got 15 minutes and I got one guy standing in front of me. I know what I have to do and what I'm working for. Whether there's thousands of people or there's nobody there or Dana White's there or just some random judges, I don't want to get beat up. I'm going there to win, So whether he's there or not, I'm gonna be trying to get a finish. That's just who I am and how I do it.
For people that want to see it, what's the date that you're going to be on?
August 27th. I believe it's the last week. This is season 3, and I'll be on week 10. Yeah, August 27th, ESPN. It's they 5 to 7, and that's in Vegas. So depending where you at, I don't know what the time will be.
That's awesome, man. I'm really excited to see you fight. I want to thank you for taking the time, Teddy, and sharing what you did, man. I think your story is amazing, and I'm super excited to see you getting into the big show. Any message that you want to give your fans or followers? I think you speak a great comeback story, and it's not really a comeback story because if you look at your record, it really didn't. But just what you've been through in your life is an amazing inspirational thing that people can look to when they need to find strength. But what's the message that you would want to leave your fans and your friends with?
Yeah, I guess I get a lot of people message me and say that like, hey man, you motivate me and you inspire me and whatever. And a lot of these people that say that stuff don't even know really what I've been through, and they just are motivated by like what I'm doing, anyways, right? And no one really knows the motive. Everyone's got their own struggles and their own motives, and you got Tyson Fury going on with the whole mental health thing, and bring a lot of awareness to that, and just kind of to add to that, like we can all get through anything, and like I said, it's not ever you're never in it alone, and it's always about the team, man. There's always people there for you, friends and family, and it's hard not to feel alone when you're in a hard, dark spot, But the fact is, there are people there that will help you, and tough times don't last, man. Tough people do. So, you're gonna get through, and together, we're all strong enough. So, just use each other for strength, and man, we can get through anything.
Tough times don't last, tough people do. Teddy Ash, thank you so much for taking the time with me, and good luck. I look forward to seeing more of you in the future.
Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome.